Okay, we started with explaining last class with the base narrowing. Uh, in this base narrowing, what we have, how we have started. We started with basic assumption of this. You can see this equation WB. WB is nothing but it is the base width is independent of collector emitter voltage. So, this is what the normal assumption we have in most of the transistors, but this assumption is going to become wrong or invalid for the type of transistor P plus and P plus. Look at the assumptions what we are doing here. For a conventional transistor, this base width becomes independent of collector emitter voltage. What do we mean by independent of collector emitter voltage? So, that means variation in collector emitter voltage does not affect the base width here, that is the meaning of independent. Okay, so, even if you change collector emitter, if you increase collector emitter voltage or decrease collector emitter voltage, the base width will not get affected. That is naturally happens in most of the transistors, but this assumption what we are doing for the general case is going to become invalid, is not always valid for the type of transistor we have preferred here is P plus N P plus transistor. What do we mean by P plus N P plus transistor? The emitter and collector are heavily doped, whereas base is lightly doped. So, for this type of transistor, this assumption, the base width becoming independent of collector emitter voltage, that is going to become invalid. So, let us explain in more detail. So, here we have seen that this is a type of transistor we have chosen P plus N P plus transistor, base region is lightly doped, and now in normal active mode means emitter junction is forward biased, collector base junction is reverse biased. So, this is a type of transistor what you are seeing in the diagram P plus N P plus diagram, and for this transistor we are connecting in normal active mode. Now, let us see what happens if we increase the reverse voltage. The collector junction is reverse biased for this in normal active mode. So, as you increase the reverse voltage, so depletion region it extends towards lightly doped region. In this case, the lightly doped region is going to be the base region. So, the depletion region, since it is reverse biased, collector base junction is reverse biased here. So, depletion region will penetrate towards the base region here. It will encroach the complete base region here, wherein you may end up with a situation like complete base is occupied by the depletion region here. When we do that, when this situation happens, then definitely the base is completely occupied by the depletion region and the transistor loses its operation here. That means, charges which are injected from the emitter straight away it reaches the collector without the intervention of the base, because base is now encroached by this depletion region. Okay. Now, let us go to more details of this. Let us look at the various the parameters here. The small l is nothing but the depletion here, depletion width, not width here, it is the length of the depletion region. Okay. So, the small l is now it is proportional to the reverse voltage. So, that means, as reverse voltage increases, then definitely L keeps increasing. L is nothing but the depletion length of the depletion region. So, now depletion region L is proportional to the reverse voltage that we are applying to the collector base junction. So, L is the depletion length of the depletion region and WB is the base width. This is what the distance you are seeing. Distance between the two depletion regions is WB, that is the base width, and LB is nothing but the base length. So, the starting from emitter side depletion region to the collector side depletion region, edge of depletion region, we call this as LB. LB is fixed for a given transistor. So, now WB can be written as LB minus L. Now, this L is proportional to the reverse voltage now. As reverse voltage increases, L keeps increasing. Okay, so, as L keeps increasing, this L parameter when it keeps increasing, so what happens to the WB? WB is nothing but the base width keeps decreasing. So, this effect or this phenomenon is called as base narrowing. That means, as reverse voltage keeps increasing, the L keeps increasing, small l, and WB keeps decreasing, the base width keeps decreasing. This effect is called as base narrowing or base width modulation or early effect, because this was first interpreted by the person called J.M. Early. Okay. So, this effect is called base narrowing effect. And now, let us see what are the implications of base narrowing effect. So, by base narrowing, it is more apparently you can see this in the common emitter output characteristics. If you plot common emitter output characteristics for this P plus N P plus transistor, this easily you can observe it, the base narrowing things can be observed. and as we mentioned, the WB keeps decreasing, and by decreasing in the WB value, the amplification factor keeps increasing. We know that the amplification factor beta is the ratio of collector current to the base current. Since because of decrease in the base region, the base current decreases. So, and when the base current decreases, the collector current, the entire emitter current flows to the collector. Therefore, collector current is going to be large. When collector current increases, then the amplification factor also increases. So, this is with reference to the VC. Okay. So, as VC keeps increasing, so the amplification factor keeps increasing, WB decreases, and there is a decrease in the base current here. Okay. And we need to explain here something called as early voltage. Early voltage is not a voltage in the device, it is just a projection of all output characteristics. To show that, I will take you to this output characteristics. You can see here this output, this is the output characteristics of common emitter configuration. This is for the practical device. You can see there is a finite amount of slope for each and every value of base current here. This is output characteristics of a BJT. Okay. So, we are plotting this with reference to the collector emitter voltage and the collector current here. This is VC versus IC graph for a fixed base current here. Each curve you are observing here is for the constant base current here, and you can make out here when the base current is fixed here, as you keep increasing collector emitter voltage, corresponding collector current also keeps increasing. Example, if you fix one particular base current, let us say this is the base current I am fixing. So, let us assume that this is IB is fixed at this level. Now, see what happens here. Now, as you keep increasing this collector emitter voltage, you will have different values of the collector current. For example, for this particular value of collector emitter voltage, we have corresponding collector current here, and as collector emitter voltage further it is increased. Say for example, this particular point, already we have seen, we have some collector current here for some collector emitter voltage on the x axis, and for increased collector emitter voltage, let us say we have moved to this collector emitter voltage, and the corresponding collector current you can observe it. There is an increase in the collector current here corresponding to the collector emitter voltage increase. So, this is the increased collector current here. That means, for a fixed base current here, we have two different values of the collector current here. Okay. So, this is not good for good amplification, for a better amplification. So, what we expect for a good amplifier? So, for a good amplifier, what we expect is, even though there is an increase in the collector emitter voltage, the collector current should not increase. So, collector current should maintain a constant. If that to happen, these curves what you are observing here, instead of having some slope here, they should have a zero slope here. So, zero slope in the sense, curves instead of having this small, okay, the 5 to 10 degree variations here, they will maintain some constant current, something like this. It is a straight line with reference to the x axis like this. Okay. Having straight line here, okay, for some fixed base current here, let us say. So, that means the slope is going to be 0, having this straight line here. Now, you can observe here the change in VC will not affect this collector current, right. Whenever we have a slope here, then the change in collector emitter voltage will affect the collector current here. But now, for a device having slope 0, that is a straight line here, even though the change in collector emitter voltage does not affect this collector current, you will have a fixed collector current because the slope is going to be 0. And now, observe here this point early voltage here, what is going to happen to this early voltage? Whenever there is a finite amount of slope like this, as you are seeing 5 degree or 5 to 10 degree variation for each of this base current curves here, if you project all these things to the second quadrant of the characteristics. So, these lines are going to meet, they are going to cross this the negative x axis at point VA. So, this point where exactly all this line crosses VA is called as early voltage. Why we are interested in early voltage here? See, as I told you, early voltage is not a voltage in the device, it is just a projection of lines from the first quadrant to the second quadrant, and where this line crosses the negative x axis, that point is called as since the entire axis is a x axis is a voltage axis. So, this point where the curves cross this negative x axis, that point we call as a voltage, that is labeled as early voltage. Now this early voltage has got a lot of implication with the amplification amplifier. For a good amplifier, this VA should be as large as possible. Okay, for a good amplifier, because when we use BJT as an amplifier, this VA should be as large as possible. The meaning is this VA, instead of very close to this y axis, it should be far away from this. So, how do you achieve that large VA? Large VA can be achieved by making this VCE independent of IC, or when the slope is going to be 0 here. So, then definitely these lines, projection lines, will meet at meet the negative x axis at infinite value of VA. So, then the amplifier become a very good amplifier, you know that. For small value of VA, the amplifier is not good. Usually for a good amplifier, we expect large VA. Larger VA means this collector current is independent of collector emitter voltage. So, these are the characteristics what you observe on the cathode ray oscilloscope. You can observe, see here the curves are almost looks like a straight line here, and you see that the VA intersection, if you project all these lines, it meets at infinite value because of slope 0 here. Okay. So, now next thing what we want to make it clear is now this is the type of a transistor we have preferred in the base narrowing effect P plus N P plus transistor. This is with the reverse voltage taking as 0, and as you increase the reverse voltage, you can see in the second graph here. So, the reverse voltage has been increased here. When you increase the reverse voltage, this L factor here, you can see here without reverse voltage, this L is going to be very small, and with increased reverse voltage, L has become large. The depletion region has extended towards base region, and WB has been decreased here. This is the WB, this distance. So, WB has been decreased. So, once WB decreases, then the amplification factor beta keeps increasing. So, amplification factor increases due to the decrease in the base current here. Okay. So, we can approximate this equation small l to this formula, L is equal to 2 epsilon VBC by Q ND. So, this is done here last class we explained this. So, when we apply these two conditions, so when the built-in voltage reverse voltage, when it is larger than the built-in voltage, so here we can substitute V naught as VBC by avoiding negative sign, and for this P plus N P plus transistor, ND will be very small compared to NA. So, therefore, this ND becomes negligible here. So, this NA cancels with this NA, and V naught becomes equal to VBC. So, therefore, Xn naught, this small l now will become equal to this formula. So, this is important for the base narrowing. The length of this L, small l depletion length, L is now proportional to the square root of VBC. Rest all are constants. So, therefore, we can write this the depletion length is proportional to the reverse voltage that we apply here. That means, as we have increased reverse voltage, then L increases, then that decreases the WB, and further it amplification factor increases now. As I was telling you that larger value of early voltage is good for good amplifier. How do we achieve that? So, that means for a, if the base narrowing effect is weak, then we can have a large early voltage. That is one possible scenario. Another possible scenario is going to be the by using BJT with graded doping. Okay, so, if we choose graded doping to make base region, emitter region and collector region, so then VA can be increased to a larger extent here. Larger VA means the collector emitter voltage becomes independent of collector current here. It is a very good amplifier here. So, this can be achieved easily by the graded doping. We have showed graded doping already in this profile. This is called graded doping here. Okay, we choose background material as a collector, and then we diffuse with different type of impurity to make base and emitter. So, these type of the BJT fabrication will definitely increase the early voltage to a larger extent here. Okay. Let us move on to the avalanche breakdown here. Last class we were discussing about avalanche breakdown. So, these things are explained here. Last class we even explained what is punch through condition and avalanche breakdown. They occur avalanche breakdown occurs earlier than the punch through. Punch through is basically a condition of ceasing the working of BJT. Now, let us explain what is this avalanche breakdown. We have seen the two different breakdowns in the PN junction. What is the first breakdown? Anybody can remember? Breakdown can be classified into two types in a PN junction. There are breakdown mechanisms. Yeah, Zener breakdown,
Zener and avalanche.
Zener breakdown, and other one is going to be the avalanche. Why we are interested in avalanche? Which one occurs earlier? Is a Zener or avalanche? This p-n junction theory. Just go through the p-n junction theory and try to find out between these two breakdown mechanisms, avalanche and the Zener breakdown mechanisms, which one occurs at early voltage. Just look into the p-n junction theory and you can answer that question, whether Zener or avalanche breakdown. But here we mainly look into the avalanche breakdown, because even though we apply p-n junction theory, because BJT is nothing but two diodes connected back to back. So, therefore, the theory what we applied for p-n junction is also valid for the bipolar junction transistor. Now, let us discuss about avalanche breakdown. So, avalanche breakdown is I have shown abbreviated this as a AB, which occurs before the punch through mechanisms. Okay. So, here let us define what is breakdown voltage. So, look at this breakdown voltage definitions here, B times VCBO. So, this is the breakdown voltage for the transistor in common emitter configuration. We will explain this what each term mean. So, B stands here base transport factor, and VCBO stands for it is a reverse voltage, and the O indicates here the emitter is kept open. So, this O indicate this is applicable for the emitter. Okay, emitter is kept open, that means emitter current is made as 0. Okay. So, under these conditions we are going to measure this breakdown voltage. So, breakdown voltage for the BJT in common emitter configuration is given by B times VCBO. So, VCBO is nothing but it is a voltage between collector and base when the emitter is kept open. Okay. So, now you can see that under this, once BJT applied voltage reverse voltage crosses this VCBO, there is a sharp increase in the collector current here. Okay. This is like a p-n junction. When the p-n junction breaks down because of large reverse voltage, definitely there is a increase in the the reverse saturation current, right. There is a surge in the reverse saturation current. That is why you see the reverse curve something like this for the p-n junction. Initially it will be constant, and once the junction breaks down, you will see a surge in the reverse characteristic, reverse saturation current like this. Same thing happens even in case of bipolar junction transistor. So, here we are discussing particularly to the collector and base. So, now for the common base configuration, okay, when the BJT is connected in common base configuration, and if applied voltage exceeds this B times VCBO, this is the breakdown voltage. So, then there is a large surge in the collector current here, because there is no junction exists, because junction between collector and the base has been broken. So, therefore, you see a large surge in the collector current here. Okay. Now, let us define another breakdown voltage applicable for in this common emitter configuration. So, we have different breakdown voltage definitions for different configuration. Here we have defined for common base configuration the breakdown voltage, and next we are defining for common emitter configuration, this is the breakdown voltage B times VCEO, and here this open circuit is applies for base. So, now to measure VCEO, you must open circuit the base terminal here. So, the total product of B into VCEO is called breakdown voltage in the common emitter configurations. Now, when you compare breakdown voltage of common base configuration with common emitter configuration, so breakdown voltage of common base configuration is very high compared to the common emitter configuration. As I mentioned already, this O indicates it is the corresponding terminals are kept open. For common emitter configuration, this O indicates base current is 0, that means base terminal is kept open, and for common base configuration IE is going to be 0, that means emitter is kept open to measure this VCEO. Okay. So, the terminal current that enters each of the collector region is given by this equation. So, now as I showed in both the cases, when the junction breaks down, collector current is going to increase, as we have showed here. When this collector base junction breaks down, there is a sharp increase in the collector current. Same thing happens even here also in the common emitter configuration. Now let us write a general equation for the collector current that is flowing from in the collector depletion region. So the collector current that is flowing in the collector depletion region, IC, is given by this equation, alpha n times IE plus ICO times m here. M is called avalanche multiplication term here. So m is going to be some number, and this expression for this m is defined here. So this I will put it in a flower bracket, that is the expression for the m. M indicates it is an avalanche multiplication number, it is a constant, indicates avalanche multiplication. Okay. Let us not worry about this expression. See, in all in the entire course, the equations that we are considering, many times we do not show proof for these equations. All of a sudden we will start equation like this and continue with the results, and you also no need to worry about this equation, how we have arrived here to this equation. But we started with some results, some equation here, and finally we arrived at the outcomes of this. So I just suggest you to remember these equations, and then end results you should be aware. Okay, let us not worry about this, how we got these expressions here. So because our syllabus says that it is a qualitative discussion, no need to worry about the basis for this equation here. Okay, just focus on the results, okay, the outcomes of this equation. So as I was telling this is the collector current that is flowing in the collector base junction. So this collector current is given by this equation. Alpha n is current transfer ratio in normal mode, I is the emitter current, this ICO is nothing but which is the reverse saturation current. Okay. So now this is the expression that gets multiplied with avalanche multiplication m. M is defined by this mathematical equation. This is an empirical expression, there is no proof for this. So the now collector current, when you substitute this m with this expression, this becomes final equation for the collector current. Now let us write this collector current expression for different now configurations like common base and common emitter configuration. Now let us start with common base configuration. For common base configurations, we already defined IE must be made 0. Okay, so to measure the voltage. So once we make IE as 0, okay, so you can see that what is going to happen in the equation 1. So the collector current once you make this 0, this complete term will get eliminated, this becomes 0, this term will go off, then IC is nothing but ICO times m. So this is what we have written here. So collector current entering the depletion region in common base configuration with IE is equal to 0 is given by this expression. Okay. Next is the breakdown voltage is well defined based on this. Okay, so this condition, when the breakdown happens, this is the current that is flowing in the collector depletion region. Let us see the similar thing for common emitter configuration. So common emitter configuration, the condition here is IB must be 0, base must be kept open. So this indicates that base terminal is kept open, base is open. That means we are not allowing any current to flow into the base, and we are going to set that the emitter current, whatever it flows, that straight away goes to the collector. So IC and IE, we are equating these two things in the equation 1. Equation 1 is this. If we now set this IC equal to IE and IB as 0, there is no IB term, nothing to worry about it here. So if you can set this and see that equation 1 how it changes. I have rewritten here equation 1 for your reference. So this is rewriting the same equation what you have seen. This is equation 1. Okay, you can observe it, same equation I have carried here. Now if you set in place of IE as IC, so you can see here wherever there is a IE, I have written replaced with IC. Okay, if you do that, the resulting expression is IC is equal to alpha n times IC into m. This gets multiplied with this term, and ICO times m. So the final expression is, if you take it here and here there is an IC, if you take it IC as a common factor, you get with the left hand side with 1 minus alpha n times m, and which is equal to ICO times m, and from this we can derive expression for IC You can find final expression for IC. So, collector current entering depletion region in a common emitter configuration, okay, is IC equals ICO times m divided by 1 minus alpha n times m here. And here in the denominator, if you observe that if this term, the second term, if this tends to unity, then this complete denominator is going to become 0. So, then IC becomes infinity. So, that means there is a large surge in the collector current. That means collector current increases indefinitely when this product of current transfer ratio and avalanche multiplication factor, when those both of these product tends to unity, the collector current increases indefinitely. Okay, so its value become very large. Okay, so that's what we can make out from this expression. To achieve same thing in the common base configuration, you can see in common base configuration, to have an infinite or indefinite collector current, you need to make m as infinity here. That is quite difficult, you know. Okay, so to achieve same effect what you are observing here, to achieve the same effect in the common base configuration, so we need to make m as infinity here. When you make m as infinity, then there is an indefinite increase in the collector current here. Okay. So, the summary is, you know, the avalanche multiplication dominates the current in the common emitter transistor. So, we can also write this final with reference to breakdown voltages. BVCO, that means breakdown voltage in the common emitter mode is less compared to the breakdown voltage in the common base mode. So, this breakdown voltage is going to be larger here. Okay. So, these are the things, you know, that need to be discussed under breakdown mechanisms here. If you have any questions related to the breakdown mechanisms, you can ask here. Otherwise, we will proceed to the these are the different graphs I have shown here. So, to measure B, VC, BO and B times VCO, these are the breakdowns, okay, which are shown with reference to the characteristics. Okay, so these are the two slides that corresponds to avalanche breakdown. Okay. Any questions before we move to the injection level? Okay, let us move to the injection level. Injection level, this is we will start with the PN junction. So, even though we are in bipolar junction transistor, you know, the topic, our theory is lies in the PN junction. So, that means if you have a good knowledge of PN junction, then the transistor can be understood very easily. Okay, now we can recall for to discuss this injection level at the emitter. Let us recall this PN junction. When we apply low forward bias, the depletion region, you know, can be longer than the diffusion length for holes and electrons, which leads to the recombination in the depletion region, and it reduces the BJT performance here. What do we mean by this? So, here you are seeing a graph here. The condition is when the low forward voltage is applied. Okay, so this is the condition for normal PN junction. This is the expression what you are seeing here. This is for the normal PN junction. The current through the diode or PN junction for normal diode is I is equal to I naught into e to the power of q. V is applied voltage divided by N into kT. N value is going to be 1 for the normal operation here. So, this is the diffusion current or current flowing through the PN junction here. But let us see what happens when the forward voltage is very less. So, when the forward voltage is very less, forward bias voltage is very less now. You can see that now this expression now has to be substituted with N is equal to 2 here, you can see here. So, when we substitute with N is equal to 2 here, so then, you know, the lot of, you know, the current you need to supply, current has to flow in the PN junction for a smaller reverse voltage here. Okay, so that does not happen in the PN junction, because a lot of recombination we expect for N is equal to 2. But let us apply this theory to the BJT. When we apply BJT here, what we expect here is when there is a low reverse forward voltage here. So, naturally here we expect here, you know, a small amount of depletion region here, and the recombination here, the rate, you know, within this for every holes that is injecting from emitter to the base, there should be a corresponding electron should get supplied by this base terminal here. So, that whole region is maintained in a neutral. Suppose if 10 to the power of 17, this is the doping level, and if the doping level is going to be here, this is lightly doped. If you maintain 10 to the power of 15, now there is a lot of injection from emitter to the base, but the equivalent supply of electron from the base to the emitter is very less. Okay, so, when we go for this low forward bias voltage, so then you can see that the lot of injection here should happen to compensate with the holes injected from the emitter to the base here. So, this create a lot of problem in the bipolar junction transistor with lower forward voltages, because we do not have equal number of electrons flowing from base to the emitter. Okay. So, that creates imbalance between the base and the emitter terminal here. Okay. So, this is called emitter injection. So, we have less amount of injection here, corresponding the base also should supply equal amount of the electrons to maintain the whole region in a neutral condition here. Okay. Otherwise, when the input voltage decreases, there is a large base current will result from that. So, larger base current is again problematic in BJT. We do not expect large base current, instead we expect larger emitter current. Okay. So, this is what we observe from this the graph here. Smaller the voltage, LP and Ln, you can see that values become very small compared to the width here, depletion width. So, now there is a lot of electron flow from the base to the emitter, since compared with the whole moment from emitter to the base. This is not a good sign of for the BJT. So, that leads to the small voltage leads to the large expects large base current here. Okay. So, that is what the implications out of this this discussion here. Okay. Small voltage will leads to the larger base current here. Okay. Okay. Now, let us see this with reference to the forward voltage. When the low voltage if you observe this graph here, all these parameters what we have seen, these are called as a BJT parameters. Gamma is injection efficiency, B is base transport factor, alpha is current transfer ratio, beta is amplification factor. So, all these values what you are observing here, if you observe the different voltages here, at lower voltages there is some recombination occurs at the base emitter base depletion region here. So, even at this level all these values are going to be very less. So, therefore, the gain is very less at lower voltages here. But at moderate voltages you can see that the values like gamma, B, alpha and beta, these are going to have the moderate values. So, they are normal values of course. So, then there is no problem. So, you are going to get a constant performance for moderate emitter base voltage. But the problem here is at higher voltages here. We have seen problems in the lower voltages. Again, the parameters, all these parameters are small values at lower, and at moderate values they maintain normal values. But at higher voltages, when there is a higher injection levels from the emitter side, so we get so many holes injecting from the emitter side to the base, that leads to the excess electron concentration, that expects excess electron concentration from the base region here. So, that means if you want to if you expect when there is a lot of injection from emitter to the base, as I given example in earlier case, suppose if this is going to be doped with 10 to the power of say 17 per cubic the centimeter, and this is going to be a doping level in the base if it is 10 to the power of 15. That means injection happens at this rate, but there is no sufficient electrons here to match this level of injection at higher voltages. So, therefore, this region will leads to the neutrality is not maintained here, because of there is a difference in the doping of emitter and as well as the base region. So, due to that so this complete region, since there is no neutrality, this values keeps decreasing. The base current keeps it is very less, and to have a neutrality for this type of the doping levels, we expect a transistor of this sort. Okay. But having p plus n kind of emitter base type of transistor, so maintaining this charge neutrality is very difficult. So then you need to fabricate transistor of type p plus n plus, which is not a good sign for an amplification. So having this type of transistor, so there is no charge neutrality in the base region, which we cannot maintain it, even though there is a large voltage applied between the emitter and the base. So this causes to the decrease in the values of this injection efficiency beta, B, alpha and beta. Okay, so this causes lot of problems. So this values decreases at higher voltages and also decreases at lower voltages. Only at moderate voltage these values are maintained constant here. Okay. Now let us discuss here what is called the thermal effects. Thermal effects are nothing but if you look at a transistor. Okay, so most of the times in forward active mode we maintain this in a reverse bias condition. So if you ask me where exactly the power dissipation is going to happen in the entire transistor, of course it is going to be in the collector base junction. So a lot of power is going to get dissipate within this. Since as I mentioned that these holes are injected from emitter to the collector, holes transfer energy from emitter to the collector here. So they dissipate a lot of heat because holes are moving from lower energy state to the higher energy state. So they give up energy to the atoms here. So there may be defect atoms also that can cause a lot of heat dissipation within this collector base junction here. And now this dissipation of heat, if you don't remove it properly, then this excess heat is going to create a problem called as thermal runaway here. Okay, this is called cumulative effect here. So that means when we have applied a lot of reverse voltage here, then this lot of power dissipation, the current flowing here, this is a reverse the current which is flowing here because of this junction is reverse biased. When the lot of high reverse voltage is applied here, then it leads to the larger power dissipation within the PN junction of collector base junction. So that cumulative effect may cause the thermal runaway. If you don't have proper the cooling substance, then definitely it leads to the thermal runaway problem here. Now let us see that how we can design the transistor in a best way, so that to avoid this excess heat dissipation in the collector base junction. In conventional semiconductors, we have seen that emitter and base are diffused. As you can see that this is the conventional transistor. We start with the base material as a collector. This is the collector, and on top of that we diffuse with the base. You can see here this is an N region here. So this is base region here, this is the base, and the small here you can see this is an emitter here, and here we have an base electrode. You can see this is a base electrode, and this is another base electrode here. In between these two base electrode there is a emitter electrode here, and the current flows from top to bottom. Here there is a collector electrode which is here at the bottom. So current flows from top to bottom like this via this the base region here. So emitter injects the charge carriers, and via this base the current has to flow to the collector here. Since base is very lightly doped and it is resistive, because you can see that this entire base material, so though we have two electrodes connected to this entire the diffused base region here. So these two, there are two contact gates. This gets two contacts, one at this side and other one at this side. These are two base contacts. So because of the thin base layer here, so we have a lot of resistance comes into a play within this base region here, and the current has to move from, because any semiconductor either N type or P type, this is equivalent to a resistance. Okay. So in our case, since base is of N type, and the charges has to emitted from the emitter has to go from emitter to the collector like this, and these charges experience some resistance in the base region here. That has been shown more clearly in this second diagram. As you can see that charges experience a resistance, massive resistance within the base region here. Okay. At same time, so we expect even larger transistor area, because larger the area of a transistor, we get more current here. Okay. But look at here, the base region is very narrow, and because of that, it experiences a lot of resistance in the base region. So even though there is a lot of injection from the emitter, but because of the base region which is experiencing having some resistance here, this consumes a lot of power within the base region itself. Now, how do we solve this problem now? Having excess resistance within the base region here. This effect is called as emitter current crowding. Okay, you can see this is a term here we use, emitter current crowding. All emitter will get current get crowded here in the base region here. Okay, and this causes the heating effect within the base region here. So now this problem can be resolved by having a, a metallized kind of the contact. You can see here now. This is a modified transistor structure. We start with P type, the collector, and you can see the base region here, which is of N type. This is white color area region shows this is the base. This is the base. Okay, and this is going to be the collector, and emitter. You can see small region here. This is the emitter. And you are observing here there are multiple emitters are there. Instead of having emitter to get in a conventional design, we have seen that emitter current gets crowded at one particular point here. To have the emitter current get distributed equally, we have multiple emitter contacts. You can see that here. So this is an emitter contact electrode. This is an emitter. This is base electrode, emitter electrode. This is, let me write it here, emitter, base, emitter, and again there is a base. That means alternatively we have between every emitter electrode there is a base electrode here. Okay, so this is the new design in order to reduce the resistance in the base region. This is the new transistor design here. Top view, if you look at this, looks like this of the same BJT structure. So this is going to be the collector, and this empty space, the white space here indicates it is a base, and this electrode what you see in shaded portion that represents emitter. Okay, and the top view of that, you can see that with the shaded contacts, connected contacts, you can see here this is the base contact metallization. You can see this, all these base contacts are combined together, that makes base contact metallization, and there is an emitter contacts are clubbed together, and that makes the emitter contact metallization here. So this new way of transistor design will avoid this emitter current crowding to a significant level here. Okay. And here we have another transistor structure that is manufactured by the Motorola company, and here how do we identify transistor within this structure here. So this is going to be the emitter, and this is the base. You can see this material here is going to be the base, and there is a collector here which is going to the beneath of this. Okay, that is the collector here. Okay, so these are the emitter, and the terminals what you see is nothing but the base here. These are the emitter terminals here. Okay, and this is nothing but which is a solder contact of for the base, in order to control the current movement from emitter to the collector here. Okay. So with that, I think we have discussed sufficient significant things with reference to the emitter current crowding here, and these are the possible quiz questions which we will be usually asking in the upcoming quiz when I send it to you, post it to you. So kindly prepare for all this kind of the quiz question. What is an early voltage? We are asking type of the heat dissipation in forward active mode, where it exactly happens, and why does BJT at this BJT perform worse at high collector current values? We have given some choices here. To avoid the current crowding, what kind of electrodes we use? Just think about this, so you can answer this. Okay, so here the answer for the last one would be the interdigitated electrodes. We have seen already this is called interdigitated electrodes. So these mechanisms are used in order to avoid current crowding in the BJT. Okay, and this is the BJT from a company called as a Motorola. Okay. With that, I will stop here, and next class we will continue with switching. Last topic we have left out in BJT is the switching. We will take up that in the next class. Okay, I will stop at this point, and